Greetings from India. I'm Sharvari Sawant. I've done my bachelor's in microbiology and master's in bioinformatics. My topic is identifying the consortia of opportunistic organisms through microbial assessment in Arthrospira platensis, mass production tanks and its biological characteristics, and effort to curb malnutrition. As we know in today, we all are suffering because of the COVID pandemic, and such outbreaks are may happen in the future, for which we need to be prepared and keep our immune system really strong. So for that, our nutritional intake is very much essential. So considering this, the global hunger index of 2020, it is seen that the African and the Asian continents are much affected by undernutrition as compared to the rest of the world. This undernutrition can lead to issues like kwashiorkor, marasmus, anemia, a lot of other things, and that will also lead to other secondary infections. So it is so, and also this malnutrition is of two types, not only undernutrition, but then there is also overnutrition. So in that case, obesity comes into picture. In that in the lower diagram here, we can observe that the blue colored part is of European countries, and then there are that is having the lowest obesity, with American country, American areas in the green color, and South Asia and Asian parts in the orange, and the highest being African continents. So the whole globe somewhere or the other is suffering from the issues of undernutrition or overnutrition. Somewhere there is stunting, there is anemia, there is overweight, insufficient, and a lot of places it's even difficult to find the data of it. So and also this malnutrition, the circle of malnutrition is pretty vicious. So if you are malnourished, your absorption rates is lowered, your immune function is impaired, your protective barrier is impaired, and that makes you more prone to other diseases and disorders. So, as famously said by Dr. Linus Pauling, nearly all diseases can be traced to nutritional deficiency. For example, of COVID as well, you see the maximum amount of individuals who are having complications due to COVID are immunocompromised, and the ones with good nutrition are able to recover the disease pretty faster. So in the nutritious aspect, we had conducted certain health camps in our institute, where height, weight and age plot was done. The BMI, blood pressure, blood sugar, blood hemoglobin, pulse, medical history was taken of the individuals. Food frequency quotient chart was taken of the individuals to know what kind of meal they consume, what kind of nutrition they consume. So after which it was realized that many were not in the under or overnourishment domain, but their RDA compliance was not as per the standards or as per required. So this issue of undernutrition or overnutrition, which is macronutrient deficiency, macronutrient or micronutrient deficiency, are seen all across the world, and it is something which we should fight against as soon as possible. So there is an immediate need of intervention. So this intervention should be done by something which is high in nutrivalence, has high bioabsorption, has high bioavailability. So an example of that could be a microalgae or cyanobacteria, because cyanobacteria existed on Earth around 2.5 billion years ago. That is when it had a significant contribution to the environmental changes also. So this organism is also having high vitamins, proteins, nutrients. Its nutrivalence is very high and is known to show positive impact on the health with a very high bioabsorption as compared to spinach or broccoli or other vegetables. So considering one such organism, which is Arthrospira platensis, It is called as superfood by was called as superfood by Geneva Council in 1993, and Food for Future by the UN. It is having high amounts of vitamins, proteins, nutrients, pigments, antioxidants, fatty acids, etc. So this particular organism is able to grow in moderate environmental conditions and has a very long history of human consumption. So Arthrospira platensis, there were reports saying that it was consumed in Japan in 2700 BC. Then the Kenebu tribes of the Chad Lake in South Africa have been consuming it traditionally. It has been grown in Mexico in Lake Texcoco. Here Arthrospira maxima strain was identified. The Myanmar's 4 volcanic lakes also grow Arthrospira platensis. In India, it was referred in the Ayurveda as Neel Jal Saiwal, which means blue-green algae, and was consumed initially. So these organisms are very high in nutrition. So that is one of the reasons, even in the case of COVID, there have been reports which show that it reduces the inflammation, which causes further complications in case of COVID-19, and has also immunomodulatory abilities. So this organism being highly nutritious in nature, it is prone to have interactions with other microbes around it. So the interaction need not always be negative or parasitic. There is also involvement of mutualistic and commensalistic relationship. So, and since this organism is being consumed, the contamination should be taken care of. So the abiotic contamination can be due to mishandling of culture or due to faulty water, whereas biotic factors involve macro and microorganisms interference. I'll be focusing on microorganism interference. So the preferred systems in which it is grown globally is open system, closed system and semi-open system. Generally, closed system have each and every parameters which are monitored. Open systems rely on natural factors for sunlight and other sunlight, pH, for temperature and things like that. Whereas the semi-open system, few factors are monitored. So this is a snapshot of the methodology and experiments I went through. So the 3 modules which were there were open system culturing, closed culturing system and semi-open culturing system. A growth analysis was done to remove the growth rate by spectrophotometer and by Newber's chamber analysis. Newber's chamber analysis was a qualitative method where the trichome quality was assessed, whereas in spectrophotometric analysis the quantity was assessed. Microbial assessment was done of the microbial load growing in it. It had McConkey's, we used McConkey's agar for gram-negative organisms and salt mannitol agar for gram-positive organisms precisely. Then gram staining was done for observing the morphological characters of the culture, of the organisms which are growing in it. It was seen that there were 3 persistently growing organisms which were then purified, maintained and cultured, after which toxicological assessment was done using universal pathogen identification disc test, and this test enabled pathogenicity or non-pathogenicity of the cultures. Secondary fish assay, which was in vivo, was done on using Viviparous, Poecilla sinops and Poecilla reticulata fish for around more than 3 months. 16S rRNA sequencing was done after isolation of DNA by Sanger's dideoxy method. Later the sequence was subjected to blast analysis, then multiple sequence alignment and phylogenetic cladograms were constructed using homology methods, using neighbor joining methods. Considering the result, the growth pattern analysis showed that the spectrophotometric results and the Newburst chamber results were both having a similar graph, which shows the robustness of the method. Then it was, as per the microbial load, it was seen that Streptococcus and Staphylococcus were absent in the medium, and these are the results for gram-negative organisms. The analysis of the three atypical organisms are shown in this slide, wherein two of them were off-white, one was orange. All of them were gram-negative bacilli having were circular. One of the white one was translucent, others were opaque. All were motile, all were facultative aerobes, and two of them were spore bearing. The orange organism was not a spore bearing organism, and all of them survived well at 37 degrees Celsius. The toxicological assessment showed that none among them were in the known list of pathogens. The secondary toxicological assessment showed that Poecilla sinops and Poecilla reticulata fish could not only grow well but also gave birth to healthy F1 generation for more than 90 days and were fed with Arthrospira platensis integrated with these three organisms. And there was no pathogenicity found, as fish is an extremely sensitive organism to environmental changes. The phylogenetic tree was constructed of the three organisms to find the homology and know which organism it is. One of them was Bacillus fortis. Then there was Azoarchus toluliticus, and one was a Pseudomonas species. But this Pseudomonas species was non-pathogenic. As per the fish assay, the fish survived very well after being fed with these organisms. Then I constructed a correlationship chart to know how four of the organisms, the three new organisms with Arthrospira platensis are related. So it was seen that our Pseudomonas species and Azoarchus toluliticus was a part of the Proteobacter group, which is the purple bacteria group. They exhibit nitrogen fixing ability and bioremediating ability. Now, nitrogen fixing ability aids the growth of spirulina production, and it's coming to Azoarchus toluliticus. It is known to degrade toluene, which is a potent carcinogen and also a neurotoxin. So, and there was the third organism was Bacillus fortis, which was from the Firmicutes family. This organism is known to resist heat at 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes and was isolated from dairy farms. It has a possibility of gut stimulatory abilities. From Terrabacteria family, we have Arthrospira platensis, which is also sharing the group Terrabacteria group with Bacillus fortis. So this Arthrospira platensis is from the Cyanobacteria clade. The three organisms were novel and hence were registered under our name in National Center for Biotechnology Information, NCBI. So as a conclusion, the symbiotic association of cyanobacteria with isolated nitrogen fixing bacteria was established and known that they were growing better. In vivo toxicological assessment on viviparous fish giving birth to healthy F1 generation indicated that there is no presence of pathogens, and closed system is capital intensive. Our experiment establishes that the open system, which is comparatively cheaper, can be utilized with moderately controlling environmental parameters. So underdeveloped and developing countries can consider this option to extricate malnutrition in the country. As future aspects, we have planned to supplement Arthrospira platensis to the malnourished population in form of single cell proteins, to develop multi-parametric sensors to detect microbial load and its growth parameters in culturing system, to have in silico studies, which I am currently working on, of COVID-19 with certain components of Arthrospira platensis. So these are the selected references. Acknowledgement. Thank you.